Nuisance. That was the exact word my eldest son used when I served the dinner I had prepared. He didn't shout or get upset. He said it with a coldness that hurt more than any blow could. "You're a nuisance now, Pop. Admit it." I stood there like an idiot with the ladle still in my hand, feeling those 5 letters pierce my soul. But what my son didn't know, what none of them knew, was that night, while everyone slept peacefully in my house, I had made a decision that would change everything forever. What I did the next day, well, you'll never guess. Let me introduce myself properly, because if you're going to accompany me on this journey, you deserve to know who you're listening to. My name is Roberto Vasquez Hernandez, but everyone has known me as Don Roberto my whole life. I turned 78 last month. I was born in a small town in Michoacan that no longer appears on maps. I arrived in this city when I was 17, with nothing but the clothes on my back. I did everything, my friends. I was a porter at the market, a carpenter's assistant, a bus driver when they still existed, and a door-to-door insurance salesman. I worked tirelessly for 5 decades to build what I have today. I built this house brick by brick, working double shifts without vacations or rest. I raised 4 children. I raised them alone when their mother got cancer and left us 15 years ago. I paid for their schooling, bought them clothes, and fed them every day. When they grew up, I helped them find jobs, lent them money that they never paid me back, and gave them land to build their own houses. Now, after all that, I'm considered a burden. But let me tell you how it all started, because things don't happen overnight. Changes in a family are like cracks in walls. They start out small and almost invisible. You ignore them until one day you realize the whole structure is about to collapse. It all started about 6 months ago, when my eldest son Carlos got divorced. He showed up at my house with 2 suitcases and a defeated look on his face. He asked to stay just a few days while he sorted things out. Like any father would, I welcomed him into my home without a second thought. A few days, it's been 6 months. Then my second son, Miguel, arrived with the story that he had lost his job due to staff cuts. He also asked to stay temporarily. Then my only daughter, Anna, arrived with her 2 children because her husband had left her and she couldn't afford rent. Little by little, my house filled up. My living room became a makeshift bedroom. My kitchen became a dining room for 8. And peace and quiet became a distant memory. At first, it didn't bother me. In fact, I was happy to have the house full again, to hear children laughing, and to feel that my family needed me. But as the weeks went by, I began to notice things, little things that accumulated until they formed a pool of resentment. The first to change his attitude was Carlos. He stopped asking if he could use my car and just took the keys. He started inviting friends over without telling me, playing loud music late into the night, and leaving the kitchen a mess after cooking. When I said something to him, he responded with the same condescending smile children use when they think their dad is too old to understand the modern world. "Don't stress about those things, Dad. Relax a little." Relax? In my own house? Miguel took over the TV. I couldn't watch the news anymore because he was always watching football or action movies with the volume turned up. If I complained, he would say, "Come on, Dad, don't be so old-fashioned. These movies are great." Anna was the worst of them all. She turned my dining room into an office to do her kids' homework, filled my refrigerator with junk food, and started giving me orders as if I were a guest in my own home. "Dad, could you turn down the volume on your radio? The kids are studying." "Dad, could you not cook so early? You woke everyone up." "Dad, could you move over a little? I need to clean there." Like the fool I was for months, I obeyed. You always think it's temporary, that things will get better, and that your children will remember who raised them and regain their respect. But I was wrong. Thursday night was different. I had been cooking since 5 in the afternoon, preparing a special dinner for my youngest granddaughter's birthday. I made mole, red rice, refried beans, and handmade tortillas. It took hours, but I wanted everything to be perfect. When I called everyone to the table, they came dragging their feet as if I had asked them a huge favor. They sat down without saying thank you or acknowledging my efforts. Some didn't even look up from their cell phones. I served everyone as always. I set the table, handed out the tortillas, and filled the glasses with water. When I finally sat down at my place at the head of the table, Carlos looked at me with tired eyes and dropped the bomb. "Dad, we need to talk about something important." I didn't like the tone. It was the same tone doctors use when delivering bad news. "What do you want to talk about, son?" "We've been thinking," he began, looking at his siblings as if seeking support. "We think it's time you considered moving to a place where you'll receive better care." My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "A place? What place?" "A retirement home, Dad. It's a nice place where you'll have company with people your own age and nurses if you need them." "Are you kicking me out of my own home?" "It's not that, Dad. It's just that you can't handle everything anymore. The house is too big for you. You spend a lot on electricity and gas to keep everything running, and we need the space." That's when Miguel joined the conversation. "Besides, Dad, let's be honest, you're a burden here. You can't deny that it's a nuisance having you ask all the time where things are and why there's noise." A burden. That word hung in the air like toxic smoke. I chewed it, swallowed it, and felt it go down my throat like ground glass. "A burden," I repeated slowly. "Yes, Dad, and that's not a bad thing. It's normal. We all become a burden when we get older, but there are special places for that." Anna nodded. "It's best for everyone, Dad. For you too." I put my fork down on my plate. I sat there looking at my 4 children's faces, trying to find the child I had comforted when he had nightmares, the teenager I had defended when he got into trouble, and the young adult I had helped when he didn't have any money. But I found nothing. All I saw were 4 strangers who wanted to get rid of me so they could keep my house. "It's okay," I finally said. They all seemed surprised that I took it so well. "Are you okay?" Carlos asked. "Yes, I'll think about it." I got up from the table, leaving my half-eaten food behind, and went to my room. I didn't sleep a wink that night. I lay in the dark with my hands behind my head, staring at the ceiling that I had painted 20 years ago. I thought about my wife and how she would have handled this situation. I thought about all the sacrifices I had made and all the times I had gone without food so my children could have a full plate. And I thought about that word burden. When had I become a burden? When did I stop being the dad who protected them and become the old man who bothered them? More importantly, why did I have to accept it? By the time the first ray of sunlight came through my window at 5 in the morning, I already had the answer. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I got up, took a shower, and put on my best shirt and dress shoes. I ate breakfast slowly, savoring every sip of coffee and bite of toast. My kids were still asleep, recovering from the night before and oblivious to what was coming. At 8 o'clock sharp, I left the house with my briefcase under my arm. Inside were all my important documents, deeds, will, bank accounts, everything. My first stop was the bank. I had been a customer of the same national bank for 40 years, and the manager, Mrs. Carmen, had known me since she was a teller. "Don Roberto, it's so good to see you. How can I help you?" "Carmen, I need to close all my accounts and transfer all my money to a new account at another bank." Her smile faded. "Are you sure? That's a lot of years of credit history." "Absolutely. I want to do it today." "May I ask why?" "Because my children think I'm a burden. I'm about to show them how expensive that burden can be." It took us 3 hours to complete all the paperwork. I canceled the additional credit cards I had given my children, closed our joint savings accounts, and withdrew all my money, everything. When I left the bank, the balance in my new account was the exact amount I had saved my entire life, 837,000 pesos. My second stop was with Mr. Morales, my trusted lawyer. "Mr. Roberto, what brings you here?" "I want to change my will." "Any family problems?" "All the family problems in the world. I replied. I explained the situation to him. The man listened attentively and nodded occasionally. When I finished, he said, "Are you absolutely sure about this?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." "Very well, let's draw up the new will." I returned home at 3 in the afternoon. My children were in the living room watching TV and eating the leftovers from last night's dinner. When they saw me come in with my briefcase, Carlos asked, "Where were you, Dad?" "Taking care of some business." "Have you thought about what we talked about last night?" "Yes, I've thought about it." He sat down in my favorite chair, the only place in the house that still felt truly mine, and looked at them one by one. "I've decided you're right. I'm a burden." Their faces lit up. They thought I had agreed to leave without a fight. But I continued, "If I'm a burden, then everything that's mine must be a burden to you too." "What do you mean?" Anna asked. "I mean that today I closed all the bank accounts where you had additional cards." The color drained from their faces. "What? I also canceled the major medical insurance that covered all of you, Dad, and I changed my will. Now when I die, this house and all my money will go to the Red Cross. You won't inherit a penny." The silence that followed was deafening. Miguel was the first to react. "You can't do that." "Why not? It's my money, it's my house. If I'm a burden, why would you want anything from a burden? That's not fair." "Fair?" I laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "You want to talk about fairness? Is it fair that after raising, feeding and educating you and giving you a roof over your head, you call me a burden? Is it fair that you want to kick me out of the house I built with my own hands?" Carlos got up from the couch. "Wait, Dad. We can talk about this." "No, we talked last night. You made your intentions very clear. It was a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was the truth." "You know what? You're right. I am a burden. But I'm also the one who pays the electricity, gas, water, food and property taxes for this house." Anna started to cry. "Dad, please." "Oh, now you're crying. You weren't crying last night when you told me to go to a nursing home. We didn't want to hurt you. You didn't want to hurt me. How did you think I would feel when you said I was a burden?" I got up from the couch and walked over to the window. From there I could see the garden I had planted, the yard where I had taught my children to ride bikes, and the driveway where I had laid the first stone of this house. "I'm going to tell you something," I continued, not turning around. "You have exactly 1 week to find another place to live. You can't kick us out." "I can't." "Watch." I turned around and took a legal document out of my briefcase. "This is a formal eviction notice. You have 7 days to vacate the property." This is crazy. This is crazy. Or is it crazy to call your own father a nuisance? Carlos approached me with his hands outstretched as if to take me by the shoulders. "Dad, we can work this out. We can talk. It's too late to talk, son. Last night was the time for respectful conversation. Today is the time for consequences. Are you really going to kick us out?" "I'm not kicking you out. I'm freeing you from the burden of dealing with a nuisance." Miguel stood up too. "Fine. If that's what you want, we'll leave. But don't expect us to come back. I didn't expect you to anyway. And don't expect us to take care of you when you're sick. Take care of you, like you've been taking care of me these last 6 months. This isn't going to end like this." "You're right. It's not going to end like this. It's going to end much worse if you don't meet the eviction deadline." Anna continued to cry. "Dad, please reconsider. We're your family. Family respects each other, Anna. You lost the right to call yourselves my family last night when you decided I was a burden." The next few days were a whirlwind of mixed emotions. My children tried everything. Pleas, threats, emotional blackmail, and promises of change. But I had already made up my mind. Carlos tried to convince me that it had all been a misunderstanding and that they only wanted what was best for me. Miguel took an aggressive approach, yelling that I was a resentful and selfish old man. Anna continued crying. trying to soften me up with memories of when she was a child. But nothing worked. On the 5th day, Miguel approached me with an expression I hadn't seen since he was a teenager, genuine fear. "Dad, are you really going to do this?" "I already did, son." "What if you regret it?" "What am I going to regret?" "Regaining my dignity. Being alone. I'd rather be alone than be around people who see me as a burden." That night, I heard my children talking quietly in the living room. They were planning to take things they claimed belonged to them, appliances they had given away and furniture they had contributed. The next day, I installed security cameras throughout the house. The 7th day came faster than I expected. My children had spent the entire week packing their things, their faces long and their murmurs filled with resentment. Some neighbors came over to ask me what was going on. I told them the truth. My children had decided it would be best for everyone to live apart. At 9 in the morning, Carlos brought down his last suitcases. "Dad, this is your last chance to fix things. Things are already fixed. Son, would you rather be alone than forgive us?" This isn't about forgiveness. It's about respect. Respect isn't begged for. It's earned. What if something happens to you? Who's going to take care of you? I took care of myself for 17 years before you were born. I think I can do it again. Miguel carried a box to the door. "This isn't going to end like this, Dad. We're going to contest the will. Fight it. The lawyer will explain that it's completely legal." Anna was the last to leave. She came up to me, her eyes red from crying. "We're going to miss you, Dad. You're not going to miss me. You're going to miss my money, my house, and my full pantry. You didn't even miss me when I lived here." She kissed me on the cheek and left. When the door closed behind her, I stood in the hallway for a few minutes, listening to the silence I hadn't experienced in 6 months. It was a silence I hadn't experienced in 6 months. Do you know how I felt? Peace. 3 months have passed since that day, and my life has completely changed. It hasn't been easy, to be honest. The first few days were tough. The house felt big and empty. There were times when I heard noises, and for a second, I thought one of my children had returned. But little by little, I got back into my routine. I started watching my news programs without interruptions again. I started cooking for myself again, making exactly what I wanted to eat. I started listening to my music again, without anyone asking me to turn it down. Most importantly, I started feeling at home again. In the 2nd month, I decided to do something I had wanted to do for years, but never had the time for. I learned how to use a computer. I took a class for seniors at the community center and met some amazing people. There was Martha, an 80-year-old widow who had traveled all over the world. Ernesto is a former teacher who gives chess lessons. There was also Elena, who bakes cakes that rival those in heaven. For the first time in years, I have friends. They seek me out because they want my company, not because they need something from me. On Sundays we have get-togethers at my house. We play cards, watch movies, and cook together. My dining room is filled with laughter once again, but this time it's genuine laughter from people who appreciate me for who I am, not what I can give them. What about my children? They've tried to contact me several times. Carlos called me a month ago to tell me that they had thought things over and wanted to apologize. I told him that apologies can't restore lost dignity. On Father's Day, Miguel sent me a text message saying he missed me. I replied that it was ironic because he didn't seem to miss me at all when he lived with me. 2 weeks ago, Anna came knocking on my door. I didn't open the door. It wasn't because I'm resentful. It's because I no longer have room in my life for people who see me as a nuisance. Do I sound harsh? Of course. They are still my children. I raised them. I loved them. However, I've also learned that love cannot exist without respect. Respect cannot be faked. Some neighbors have told me that I was too harsh and that I should give them another chance. But you know what? I gave them every chance in the world for 6 months. I provided them with a roof over their heads, food, understanding, and patience. In return, I received complaints and orders. Finally, I received the word that changed everything: nuisance. To anyone listening who is going through something similar, I want to say something important. Never let anyone, especially your family, make you feel like a burden. You don't become a burden just because you're growing old. You become a burden when you allow others to treat you as such. Age does not diminish our value as people. Experience does not make us burdens. The years do not make us any less deserving of respect. I was fortunate to have savings, property, and the ability to make drastic decisions. I understand that not everyone is in that position. However, even without money, property, or resources, we all have something that no one can take away from us: our dignity. That dignity is worth more than any comfort, company, or financial security. Am I alone in this? Technically, yes, but I would much rather be alone and at peace than be accompanied and humiliated. Do I regret it? No, not for a single day. Do I forgive them? Forgiveness is for people who acknowledge their mistakes and genuinely seek to make amends. And my exes did neither. My children have done neither. Do I miss them? I miss the children they used to be, not the adults they've become. To all the parents listening, love your children, raise them, support them, but don't let them disrespect you. Teach them boundaries. Demand basic courtesy. Don't confuse love with permissiveness. To all the children listening, your parents are not machines that exist to serve you. They are not ATMs, they are not domestic servants. They are people who gave everything for you, and they deserve to be treated with dignity. And to all the older adults, you are not a burden. You are a wealth of experience. You are lived experience. You are love given unconditionally for decades. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are. My story had a happy ending because I made difficult decisions when necessary. I understand that not everyone has that option, but everyone has the right to demand basic respect. If you don't get it from your family, look for it elsewhere. I found it in my new friends, my new routines, and my new life. It's a life where no one sees me as a nuisance or tolerates my presence. It's a life where I am Don Roberto again, not just dad when they need something. It's a life where I am Don Roberto again, not just dad when they need something. At 78 years old, my life is just beginning. You know what's most ironic of all? Now that I don't live with my children, now that I don't give them money, and now that I don't help them with anything, they finally need me. They realized that I wasn't a nuisance. It was their lack of gratitude. Their lack of respect was in the way. Their selfishness was in the way. But that's not my problem anymore. It's theirs. If you've come this far with me, thank you from the bottom of my heart for accompanying me on this journey. If you know someone going through something similar, please share this video. Sometimes, knowing that we are not alone is all we need to make the right decisions. Remember, it's never too late to regain the respect you deserve. It's never too late to stop hindering others and start living your life. My name is Roberto Vasquez, and this was my story. I hope it helps you avoid living your own story. Thank you.